Greetings YouTube. Anton LaVey once remarked that Satanists are born, not made. And as much as I might disagree with some of his teachings, I have to admit that there is great wisdom in this statement. But I prefer to phrase it somewhat differently. I would say that the devil chooses his own, and only he can decide who will bear his mark and who will not. When I refer to the devil's mark, I am not referring to that which is called the number of the beast in the Christian book of Revelation. Instead, I am referring to something more like the medieval belief that the devil physically places a special mark upon the bodies of his servants. This mark was believed to be insensitive to pain, and it was one of the things that witch hunters looked for on the bodies of suspected witches. Even the slightest mole or birthmark could be seen as the mark of the devil, and anyone who had one would be imprisoned and tortured. It is a fact that most of the people who were tortured during that time were not witches or devil worshippers at all, but just normal Christians who ended up as the victims of cultural paranoia. If any of the people who were executed as witches at that time really did serve the devil, it has yet to be proven. Regardless of this, I do believe that the devil places a mark upon those who are destined to serve him. But instead of thinking of this mark as a physical thing that actually appears on one's body, I think of it as a spiritual mark that is placed upon one's spirit or soul. Now some of my readers may already know this, but I have never been a practitioner of any other religion than Satanism. My parents did not raise me to be a Satanist by any means, but they did give me an agnostic upbringing. I was never instructed to believe in any particular religion. And yet, during my entire life as a child, I always felt drawn to darkness, the devil, and the occult. I did not begin to understand this as an actual religious persuasion until I reached high school, but I nevertheless felt drawn to these things before I ever knew anything about them. Because of this, I believe the devil has been in my life since at least the time when I was born, if not longer. And I believe he has always intended for me to be one of his children. You might say that I've been groomed for devil worship, so to speak, but without anybody realizing it. In this sense, I believe that I have, and have always had, the mark of the devil upon my soul. Set receives those who receive him, and he doesn't exactly solicit membership from people. Unlike some other gods who seem to prefer being worshipped by entire multitudes of human sheep, I think the Prince of Darkness would rather keep his fan base down to a minimum. But he does have a habit of surprising people. Before recognizing themselves as Satanists, many devil folk would not even dream of following Satan either literally or symbolically. Even a person who has been a fundamentalist Christian their entire life can wake up one morning and suddenly realize they've been marked by Set from the very beginning. The very same thing could suddenly happen to a fanatical goddess-worshipping feminazi, right out of the blue. It's just a matter of them discovering this one Set wants them to. I say recognizing themselves as Satanists because nobody really becomes a Satanist. Those of us who are chosen, who have been given the mark, have always been devil folk deep down. It's just a matter of realizing it. This is why Anton LaVey said, Satanists are born, not made. When it comes down to it, you can't fake being a child of Set. It's not just a religious persuasion, but a spiritual orientation. Devil folk can't help loving the devil any more than gay folks can help being attracted to members of the same sex. And when an individual receives the call and recognizes the mark that they have been given, it is never a matter of conversion. It is simply a matter of waking up to a part of yourself that has always been there, and which has only been dormant until now. Now some folks, usually teenagers, become involved in Satanism more out of rebellion than out of any true spiritual calling. Some of them will eventually leave Satanism as they get older, and embark upon other ideas and worldviews. Such dabblers have not really been marked, but their temporary involvement in Satanism might nevertheless be an important stage of their initiations. So although it may be tempting for those of us who are marked to belittle and make fun of these dabblers, we really shouldn't. For some people, Satanism is not intended as a spiritual calling, but more as a vehicle of transition through which they can arrive at wherever their initiation is meant to lead them. Many Jungians who were once satanic dabblers grow up to become practitioners of other minority religions, like Wicca or the Lemma. In this sense, Satanism is something like a midwife for these other minority religions.